Grab a cocktail with us and welcome to the hot mess that is my life as a single makeup artist living in a college town in Florida. This is Kara's Lipstick Diary. All right, you guys, we are back for the second half of the episode about pelvic health with Rachel, who is here telling us all sorts of important things that we need to know about. Are you enjoying your cocktail? Have you hit that subscribe button? You know you want to. Hit the subscribe button and sit back with your cocktail and watch the second half of this episode. Question for you. Obviously, we know that pregnancy affects things. What are some of the things, like, y'all, we all know I ain't having any babies. Like, that ain't one of my issues. But many of you who watch, that's an issue for you. Y'all have kids. Y'all have been pregnant, sometimes multiple times. Some of you gave vaginal birth. Some of you had, they cut you open and you had a C-section. What are some of the things that women, first off, vaginally can experience differently?
Yeah. So with like a vaginal birth, you're obviously going to get a lot of stretching in the vaginal canal and at the entrance, which our bodies are amazing and they can do that, right?
And then they
kind of go back, right?
Yeah.
But some
Which, by the way, guys, get over this whole thing of like your dick is stretching out our vaginas. It's not. We can birth a human head and it goes back.
Yeah.
Get the fuck over your dick. It ain't that great.
It's not as big as a baby.
Little PSA there. Like, sorry, I had to interrupt you.
Yeah, no.
All right, continue.
Yes. So it's amazing. It stretches like an amazing amount, right? And then is able to go back. But sometimes, especially with certain deliveries that are quicker, or if somebody has that higher level of tone, then we can get some tearing.
That's what I was going to, I know
right?
I've had friends who have had tearage, and I'm like, oh, well, that sounds terrifying.
Yes. And there are some ways you can kind of reduce that risk, right? With different birthing positions, with doing pelvic health therapy beforehand, doing some stretching work, things like that can be helpful to kind of avoid that. But then if people have that, you can also see a therapist afterwards to like work on the scar tissue and work on the sensitivity.
Well, and you said the angle of the birth. Now, it has always confused me. I'm not a doctor. Again, never had a kid. Don't plan to have one. It confuses me, though, that in our society, we make women lay down on a bed to push a baby out.
Yeah.
I'm feeling like gravity would be very helpful in this moment.
Right.
And gravity is not helping us when we're laying down in a bed.
Yeah.
So if someone is pregnant and they're thinking about their birthing moment.
I
don't know, what do you call it? Your birth, whatever. Clearly, I have never had to deal with this. What are there options for women to not give birth in the least, because to me, that seems like the least ideal method to give birth. Am I wrong? I mean,
yeah. Mm-hmm. So it definitely is going to obviously depend on the person and whatever is comfortable for them, right? Like, do what you got to do when you're having a baby.
It's you birth it. Like, you're all out there, do what's best for you. But
do what you need to do. But you're right. Generally, laying on your back with your legs open like that, which is the position we always give birth in, you're kind of closing off the canal a little bit.
Yeah, because I was like, none of that seems like the best method.
Yeah, and you are not putting yourself in the best position to push, and you're kind of losing some mobility in your sacrum, like things that all would be good to have a baby, right? Makes it tricky also when, you have an epidural. If somebody has an epidural, then it's like you feel like you're stuck there.
Yeah.
Right? You can't go anywhere. So that's one thing I often go over with all of my pregnant patients would be like different birthing positions, different options, even if you do end up like getting an epidural and you're sort of stuck on your back because nobody's willing to move you, which nurses should also help you move into different positions. But there are different things you can do, like putting a pool noodle under your sacrum that can help to like open that up a little bit more. And different ways you can use like balls, birthing balls and things like that to get it to be kind of a better process. But if you are able to stand up, squat, go into these different positions, then that can be really helpful.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things. I know there are these stories of like young women who don't know they're pregnant. They go to the bathroom and the baby comes out. Again, that's a sitting down position where gravity is affecting it. And it makes sense. And I'm like, the baby popped out. Like, shit. Yeah. While we have these women laying down with their legs out, and I'm like, how long were you in labor? 45 hours? Holy fuck. So that's always been one of those things that has confused me because I'm a very my brain thinks in a sort of different way, and I'm like, this makes zero logic to me. Why would we do this to women? And I know that there's the water births and all these different things, which just seem like they would be much gentler on one's body to do. So lots of things can happen during pregnancy. I know
Yes.
another big thing that can really affect people's pelvic floors are things like hysterectomies.
Yes.
And I know, it took me 4 doctors to find someone to give me an IUD. Okay. So like, I was like at the point where I was like, tie my tubes, fucking burn them, do whatever the hell you need to do. I don't want to get pregnant. And my doctor, finally I found one who would actually listen to me and was like, yes, we don't have to ask your husband for this that I don't have. Fuck you doctors who said that to me. But he and I had a conversation and he was like, basically your medical reasons, you need an IUD or we jump to hysterectomy. And I was like, okay, I have heard some shit about hysterectomies and like, one, I don't need my bladder falling out. I don't need to lose my sex drive. I need to still have a pelvic floor. Like, fuck. Everything I've heard about hysterectomies and pelvic floor type shit is not good. What does a hysterectomy do to impact the pelvic floor? And again, what the fuck can we do to help that situation? Because you do sometimes have to have a hysterectomy. Yeah. It's not an option.
Yeah. Yes. And I have had quite a few patients for endometriosis specifically. Yes. And while I, like as a pelvic health physical therapist, can't fix endometriosis, right? I can kind of help with some of the symptoms that happen with that. Some of the pelvic pain, some of the pain with sex, right? Yeah. A lot of times we have that, like people develop kind of a tighter pelvic floor from kind of the pain and the upregulated nervous system. So, but sometimes, a hysterectomy is necessary. And I've had many patients where a hysterectomy has just like saved them.
Wow.
Right? Where like endometriosis, really severe endometriosis, take the uterus out and they are like back to living a normal life. Oh. So in some cases it is like the ideal treatment for some people.
Interesting.
Right? Other times it can be helpful, but it may lead to other issues. Yeah, sometimes people just develop like scar tissue from the surgery that we have to kind of work through. And then just any surgery in general is trauma to your body.
Correct.
So you're going to have some issues from that oftentimes. So we'll sometimes have to work through, again, some of that like upregulated nervous system. Pelvic floor is very tied into the nervous system. So if your nervous system is upregulated and unhappy, your pelvic floor is usually upregulated and unhappy, right?
Yeah.
So after surgery, we deal with that. But also a lot of like bowel and bladder issues.
Yeah.
Because anesthesia just like messes up your intestines, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's the main thing. Like, as I've heard of multiple times with women, like literally like their bladder, like nothing's holding their bladder then. And then like all sorts of, and I know nothing about anatomy, y'all. Like, this is not my forte, not a doctor for a reason. I mean, when I had to dissect a frog in biology class in 9th grade, I was like, oh, peace the fuck out. Like, this is not my area of expertise at all. But like, I hear these stories and I'm like, oh my God, wait, what is going to happen? Like, I don't ever want a hysterectomy, but I also have never been diagnosed with endometriosis, but I'm pretty damn sure I have it because, all those symptoms. Yeah. So,
and it takes people an average of 7 to 10 years to get a diagnosis.
And I've never even like really talked to my doctors about it, but I'm assuming with my symptoms that I probably have it. Yeah. So when you're saying it can help with some of that, I'm like, that sounds actually intriguing. Maybe that's not so scary after this IUD has lived its life. But I want to, making sure we have healthy pelvic health is so freaking important. So, I think I need to call this woman right here and make an appointment soon because like we need a healthy pelvic floor. But anyways, back on topic. So, my audience, we like all the health stuff. We like all of that, but sex is really like one of the main things that people watch the show to talk about. Yeah. So, we talked a little bit about it, but what are, things that women should be, one, aware can be fixed. Yeah. And two, what do they do? What type of specialists do they, what the fuck do they do? Like, what do we do? Because no one tells us this shit.
Yeah. So you're saying specifically like with pain with sex?
Yes. Like different, and like what is considered normal and what is not considered normal.
Yeah.
Because we don't know that. No one tells us this shit.
Yeah. So no amount of long-term pain should be normal. Like sometimes on the first time, you may get some discomfort, but in general, that should go away like pretty quickly. Yeah. Right. And it should be enjoyable. It should be fun. Right. It shouldn't be any sort of painful at all, like any sharp pain, any deep pain. Some people come in and they're like, well, I don't really have pain, but I have pain when it's really deep.
Right. Well, that's a regular thing. Yeah. Yeah. And I know that's God knows I've had that. Yeah. You're like, oh, hey, that hit in a spot I wasn't expecting.
Yeah. Or like, I only have pain in certain positions.
Yeah.
Right. And that's still pain with sex. And that's still something that we can address, because there might be some issues like when you're in certain positions, right?
Yeah.
There might be some issues with the pelvic floor, or sometimes with deep sex, it might be like a cervical issue, like the cervix might be tender. And that's something that we can kind of work on. So with that, another thing that I tell people is, of course, make sure you have plenty of lubrication.
Yeah.
Right? Make sure there's plenty of foreplay.
Well, and like, okay, guys, lubrication, super fucking important. We naturally have a lubrication. P.S. When we squirt, that washes a lot of that away because that's like water. So like then lube is needed. Like, we don't want it to, like, that really fucking hurts if we're not lubricated. Like, really fucking hurts. And not all of us produce lubrication due to hormonal issues, due to this, that, and the other. And it doesn't mean we're not aroused, but using a lube can be super important.
Yes, very, very important. So that's like a big thing. People are like, I'm having pain. Like, are you using lubrication? Right. And they're like, well,
why would I use that? Yeah, no, I understand. I mean, because it's not one of those things I think about either. Like, do I think about using lube all the time? No, like I'm in the heat of the moment. Then I'm like, oh, fuck. Should have thought about that. That was uncomfortable. Like I was recently with a guy and like, he was so excited because he had figured out how to make me squirt. It was like a new toy. He was like super excited. But the thing is that lubrication literally washes away a lot of the other lubrication.
Yeah. Like apply, reapply.
Yeah.
Use it,
and he even literally said, oh, you're not lubricated anymore. No shit, Sherlock. Let's fix this situation. Damn, it hurt. But like that's, those are things that we also we do not talk about lubrication and how important that is. And what is, again, like not all of us produce it. It doesn't stay for, you're on round 3. We dry. You're going to need to help us out a little bit. So those are like really key things, I think, that, will help women with all of that. Another thing I found one time, oh, poor guy. Poor dude. He had a very small penis. But he was very aggressive with his small dick. And he kept popping my pelvic bone out of place. Yeah. Literally, he kept popping because it only hit to like he would hit here and it would, like literally he kept and I'd be like, fuck. Let me tell you how much fun it was going to the chiropractor and being like, I'm going to need you to put my pubic bone back in place. Like,
don't ask me how this happened.
Don't ask any questions, but this shit's all out of place. They were like, what the fuck, Kara? And I'm like, ask him.
It's impressive.
It's impressive. Like, that's how it was fucked up, y'all. But, there's all sorts of weird things that can happen. And making sure we maintain that pelvic health is so important. What are things that women can be doing at home to just be aware of to help them?
Yeah. So first of all, just like building an awareness with your pelvic floor.
Yeah.
Right. It's first thing. Again, people just have no idea like how to contract it, how to relax it. So first of all, just like getting familiar with your pelvic floor.
So what does that mean? How does one do that?
For some people, it means like look at your vulva in a mirror.
Oh, wait, we're allowed to look at it?
Yeah, right.
Hold up. What?
Yep. I know.
Oh, shocking.
Crazy. And you would be surprised at how many patients that's
Never.
like
Never have looked at it.
The number one homework that I give them is like, just go look at it because you're so disconnected from this that you just need to create some sort of connection. And they're just like, that makes me very uncomfortable.
Or like, when I talk to a woman and I say, try the flex instead of a tampon. And they're like, but I have to put my fingers inside myself.
Yeah. People are like, oh no.
What? Like you let men stick their fingers in there. You let them stick their dick in there, but you're not going to put your own fingers inside. You put your finger in your mouth, in your ear. As a child, you probably put it in your nose, but I'm sorry.
Yeah, but that's off limits.
Yeah. We don't look at it. We don't touch it.
Yes. So even just like building that awareness, first of all, just like, okay, this is a part of my body that I have control over. Yeah. I should know my own anatomy. I should also know what feels good to me, right? Like I should.
Female pleasure. Figure it out.
I should be aware of like, what is painful? What feels nice? Like, how can I communicate this to a partner? Yeah. If that's, my goal. So building like those communication skills is also another big thing that we work on. A lot of this isn't like what you think of as physical therapy.
No, but it's very important. And I don't think many women even know how to feel good.
Yeah.
And what is supposed to feel good and how to make that happen. And I think these are all things that we as women need to figure out for ourselves. And then be able to translate that to our partners.
Yeah.
Because I don't think, and here I am, this person who comes on and talks about these different things. And it wasn't until recently that I knew how to tell a guy how to make me squirt. Like now I can tell any dude, like, this is what you got to do. But I didn't even know that was an option.
Yeah.
And I think most of us as women don't know that. We don't know what pain, which there shouldn't be, is normal, what isn't normal, how to fix it, what to do, what's a Kegel, what's tight, what's loose, what the hell are these damn balls we're sticking inside of ourselves? Like, what are we supposed to do? No one tells us. Yeah. It is completely not talked about in sex ed. Like, totally. This is just completely like washed over. So this conversation I think is so important, and we do have to wrap it up, but this is one of those things that I feel is such an important ongoing conversation so that women have an understanding of their anatomy, of their bodies, of, what is normal feeling, what is not normal. Is it normal to stand up and pee? Not so much. We should probably talk to someone about this. Is it normal to have pain during sex? No, we should talk to someone about this. So if you are having any of these issues, make sure you look into your community. You're a physical therapist. Yeah. That's probably the main place you want to go look is for a physical therapist that specializes in pelvic health. You work at a place called Gainesville Wellness and Professionals here in town.
Yeah,
GW.
Gainesville Wellness and Performance.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry. God, I don't know where professionals came from. Damn.
We are professionals.
Oh, well, you are. You're very professional. I totally knew that too. The brain. I've had a cocktail. It's all good. It's like 10:30 in the morning. Totally normal. But look into your area wherever you live. They are a fantastic resource here in Gainesville, Florida. I love you guys. You do amazing work. Thank you again so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate having you here today.
Yeah, you're so welcome. This was so much fun. Thank
you. All right, you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. Remember to hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on a single episode. And also think about it. Do you have a special event or something coming up and you want to look fabulous? I travel all over the world to make sure that my clients look beautiful with professional makeup. So contact me. I've done weddings for some of my fans and I would love to work with more of you. Anyways, hit that subscribe button and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye.